So I was at the office today and I decided to put on the RASASI HAWAS Ice. And it got me thinking, right? I want to compare the HAWAS Ice to the original RASASI HAWAS. Now they're both fantastic fragrances, but now that I've gotten a chance to wear both of them, I want to give you my comparisons, my take, my perspective, and what fragrance I think works best depending on the situation. Stay tuned. Now today I wore the RASASI HAWAS Ice. Now, this is what I really think took RASASI to the next level. Uh, I think this one is a little bit more crowd pleasing in terms of how many people would find this scent appealing. As somebody just got ran over by a car, it sounds like. Oh, yeah, he's still getting ran over. He's still getting ran over. So today I decided to wear the RASASI HAWAS Ice. I wore this to the office, and what I think about the RASASI HAWAS Ice, I think it's a little bit more of a crowd pleasing scent. I think they took the original HAWAS DNA and sort of sweetened it down a little bit. Now, what you do notice is that it opens up with it's just this light, bright, fruity, citrus, clean smell. Very good, very good. Now, if we're comparing that to the original OG HAWAS, I call it the OG, the HAWAS, RASASI HAWAS, they both open up with the same type of note profile, right? It's got that citrus, that apple, that bergamot. But what I think the RASASI HAWAS does differently is on the dry down. That's really where they make their mark. Now, I had the HAWAS Ice on today at work, and I was quite pleased. I was quite pleased with the scent. I'm over there typing, and I'm going, I catch a little waft coming from off my shirt. And it's this slight sweet tone to it. What I did notice is that I don't think the longevity of the HAWAS Ice is as good as the original, but I do think the smell in of itself is a little bit more pleasing to the majority, right? Now, comparing that to the original, I mean, just look at the juice. The juice is just pretty. It's just pretty purple. It's got a lovely metallic black cap on it. I just think the bottle is a lot better looking from just an overall presentation standpoint. And what I do think that the RASASI OG does better is on the dry down and the longevity. Meaning, when I've sprayed this, I feel like 3-4 hours later, I've still picked up that same scent profile, and the dry down helps it sustain more. What I believe is because of the patchouli and the musk, that this incorporates a little bit differently than the HAWAS Ice. It allows it a little bit better longevity. Now, this one does have a slight more masculine tone than the HAWAS Ice. So there are certain situations where I think you'd be better suited rocking the HAWAS Ice versus the HAWAS OG. For example, the office, I think you could wear the HAWAS Ice. I also think you could wear the original as well. Both of them work well for the office. But for example, I'll be hitting the gym here later on. I would lean more towards the HAWAS Ice if you're going to work out. There's not as much musk in the dry down, and I think that's going to work better for folks who want to stay clean and fresh and doing things with activity that involves a lot of sweating. The HAWAS Ice is going to sit a little bit more friendly on the nostrils when you're working out. Not to say that the HAWAS OG is going to necessarily be overpowering or too unbearable for folks there. But depending on the situation, maybe a lighter spray, 1 or 2 before you go out to the gym should do the trick. I just think the HAWAS Ice is a little bit more forgiving with situations that involve physical activity. Now, if you're a refined gentleman like myself, the RASASI HAWAS, I think, is a little bit more up your lane. Right? Now, this one's going to have a little bit more of a boss type of vibe to it. Versus the HAWAS is a little bit more playful, more friendly, more crowd pleasing, like I mentioned. So it's not to say that, if you're a refined gentleman, that the HAWAS Ice won't work for you per se. But if you do kind of want to stand out a little bit differently, I think the HAWAS OG has this different hue to it that the ice just doesn't really capture with the dry down. Right? I think more for, a younger crowd that likes to go out, crowd that likes to do activities. The HAWAS Ice is a little bit more forgiving versus the OG HAWAS, in my opinion. Now, again, only the nose knows, so this is completely subjective. But I do believe that the musk that they've incorporated in this will allow a little bit more of a grown and sexy. HAWAS Ice has got a little bit more sweeter, sweeter touch and tone to it, which I think also works well for unisex too. I think it kind of leans unisex a little bit. I can see the masculine and the feminine both rocking the HAWAS Ice and having no issues or concerns with that. Now, the OG HAWAS, I don't necessarily recommend this for females unless you were to layer this with something like a smooth vanilla or something like that to just kind of help that dry down, not be too overpowering with the musk. But they do an excellent job with both of these. Overall, I like both. I like both for different reasons. I tend to lean a little bit more sweet, so I like the HAWAS Ice, but I've also got compliments with the OG HAWAS as well. So you really can't miss with either of them. But again, just figure out the scenario that you're in, figure out what type of scent profile that you typically lean towards, because they both carry that citrus and that sweet very well in that top. Now, depending on the situation, depending on the scenario you're in, you really can't miss with